I get this question a lot, and because I talk about it so much, and that is, how does visibility make sales easier? Well, if you listen to the live or the episode that we talked about, visibility is way more than video. Like, so many times we think it's just video, but it's not, right? It's so much more than that. But let's talk about visibility and how that visibility strategy helps make sales easier. Number one, we talked about parasocial relationships, right? And we talked about how we can build like, know, and trust so much stronger on video or visibility with that strategy, right? And so that is one reason that plays into that, because people fall in love with us so much faster, because people like, know, and trust us so much faster. Obviously, when people are trusting us, right? And they believe in us and they see the consistent efforts that we're doing online, it's going to be more likely that, hey, I'm going to buy from her. I know what she's about. I'm watching her and paying attention to her. She's very consistent. She's showing up all the time. She's activating me. All of these things are going to make me want to buy, right? We want closer proximity. So, one thing that happens in sales is the reason a lot of people will buy from you is because they know that online that they'd only get like video, right? Or content or text content, right? They know they're only getting this proximity, right? And they can comment in the comments and that's it. So one reason that people buy is because they know the proximity is closer, right? They know they can get more of your time in a different way, whether that's Zoom, phone, however that looks like, one-on-one, whatever that looks like for you, but they want the proximity to you. So that is one thing that visibility can do. It can help your, let's see how we gonna say this, help your person desire that proximity with you, which is huge, right? So that's one way that visibility makes sales easier. If you remember too, we talked about in things that visibility are is we're very congruent and our messaging is very clear. Well, we've talked about our message so much, or we've talked about what we think is so important. For example, I'm talking about visibility all week, right? That is what I'm known for. That is what I talk about. So if visibility is an issue in many different ways, that you would want to work with me potentially, right? I'm just saying this. So I'm talking about visibility. My messaging is congruent. You know that everything that I talk about, visibility, it always goes to visibility. I love that Denise Duffield Thomas talks about this. She goes, everything leads to boot camp, right? Everything leads to visibility. Everything. In some way, shape, or form. But Chrissy, you teach people how to create offers. Yeah. Because guess what? We get to market those offers. We get to talk about those offers. Those offers are the clear path to someone's pain or someone's problem, right? And that offer is going to fix that. Visibility, sight, seeing, clear, right? All of those words are the same thing as visibility, is seeing what's possible. The other thing with sales is that the more visible we are, most likely we are consistent, right? And again, I'm not saying video, but we are more consistent, meaning that the more consistent we are for free in our content, in our feed, the more people are trusting us that if you're this consistent for me here for free with all this value, what's going to happen when I actually pay you? Right? That's going to be like a big, like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm going to pay you and then I'm going to get like this and more. Like, that's huge, right? And so visibility, content, being consistent, trust. You're giving me all this for free. What are you going to do when I pay you? Another thing that can help is that, again, we've talked about parasocial relationships. We've talked about as an introvert, I would never comment on somebody's post. The reason I comment is because I know what it does for their business. I also know what it does for their, like when people, like, nobody comments on your stuff, it's sad, right? I also do it because it's kind. It's the right thing to do. And I love loving on people's content. I love giving people another opportunity for other people to see that piece of content. Now, I don't say, I love this. This is amazing if it's really not, right? I might just like it. Don't start evaluating, because sometimes I just like stuff because I don't have a lot of time. So anyhow, moving on from that. But what happens is when we are putting out that type of content, and introverts, for example, and it's not just introverts, other people don't comment too, but they're lurkers, right? And then all of a sudden they buy from us and we're like, wait a minute, I don't even know this person. I've never seen this person before. And they buy from me. They've been there. They've been looking. They've been lurking the whole time. It's just they were waiting for the right thing to buy. When we're consistent with our messaging, when we're consistent with our content, when we're consistent with our visibility strategy, we're also talking about the offer more, right? The thing that we're selling. We're discussing it more. We're what we call why is the word seeding it in? Like words are like just not coming today. We're seeding it in to the content with not actually saying go buy my thing, but we're seeding it in, right? For example, I'm sitting here talking to you about visibility. Then let's say we're talking about this is going to be really good. So we're going to talk about this whole concept of sales being easier in visibility in this upcoming program I have. It's going to be a 2-week program, and we're going to learn how to show up online to make or to create maximum benefits, right? So, and then I'm like moving on, right? I just kind of seed it in there. Or like, let's say my visible inner circle, we've talked about this so much, like this is something I go in really deep and strategize with them inside that container. So I'm not saying go to www.thevisibleceo.com to grab your application. I'm not saying that. I'm seeding it in. I'm talking about it. And the more that we can do that throughout our content, the less hard selling we have to do too, right? Because it's not salesy. It's literally, I'm seeding it in. You take it for what it's worth. If you want more, you go find it. If you're activated by my content, by what I'm saying, you go find it. But otherwise you just like, okay, good to know. Keep that in the back of my mind when I'm ready for that next thing. But if we're not seeding it in, if we're not talking about it, if we're not consistently showing up to talk about it, what happens? Nobody's buying. I put up a quote, I don't know, like 2 months ago, maybe a little bit longer. And it said, you, meaning everyone, including me, no one's buying. Reality, you've only talked about it 3 times. This is our problem as entrepreneurs. Well, I've talked about it 3 times and nobody bought, so I'm not going to do it again. Nobody wants what I have to offer. That's not it. That's not it. But when we are really consistent with our visibility strategy, the sales do come easier. They become easier. And the things that I think attribute to that the most are the consistency, the clear, concise messaging, right? We're very consistent with our messaging. We're not talking about 365 different things every single year. Literally, we probably are getting tired of hearing ourselves talk. But we're also positioning ourselves as the expert. So when the person knows, because we've talked about it so much, we've been consistent with our visibility strategy. So when they are ready to buy, they know exactly what we are about. They know what we stand for. They know what we can help them do. We've positioned ourselves as the expert in what we talk about it. So of course, who is going to buy? Who are they going to think of when they think of visibility? Who are they going to think of when they think of marketing? Who are they going to think of when they think of content creation? This is so powerful, my friend. The question is, are you going to step up your visibility strategy so that you can make sales easier? Or are you going to continue to move down the same line that you've been moving down and continuing to say no one's buying? Continue to say this isn't working for me. Continue to say no one likes what I have to offer. Continuing to say my business sucks. Do this for me. Try it. And I don't mean try it for a week. I don't mean try it for 2 weeks. I don't mean try it for 4 weeks. I mean, this is a consistent thing. It took me 2 years of visibility, but 90 days of consistent action is where you're really going to start seeing the results. I believe what we do in one set of 90 days, we see the result in the next 90 days. The question is, are you willing to give it 90 days, or are you going to say this doesn't work and stop trying and tell yourself all those BS stories that we like to tell ourselves, that it's too much, nobody wants this, blah, 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 and just say, I failed. Or you can get back up and you can try again. What's it going to be? You get to make that decision. Let's get your visibility strategy strong so that sales can be easier.